Welcome back, boys and girls, to lesson number 38 of the 4th grade Excel. Today we're going to learn 3 words mainly, and to totally understand those, the words parallel, intersecting, and perpendicular. So let's get a start on it. Oh, but before we do, I do have a little joke for you here. What is the best day to go to the beach? What is the best day to go to the beach? Okay, so anyway, parallel lines. We do have a song for this, Rockin' the Standard song. Do you see parallel looking like a double L? And one way that I remember parallel is that there are parallel lines actually in the word parallel right next to each other. That double L in there, those lines are parallel to each other. So do you see parallel looking like a double L? Lines that never cross never would as well. Remember from our last lesson that if there's an arrow on the end of these, then that means it's a line that goes on and on forever in math. So both of these lines just keep going, and as you can see, they would never touch each other. So these two lines are parallel to each other. Now, on the other hand, these two lines are not parallel to each other. Even though they don't cross each other, if this kept going like the arrow shows, it would end up crossing the other line, line EF. Just as a reminder, this is line AB, and we can't just write AB. We have to write with arrows on both ends on a little symbol above it. That means line AB, and line AB we would say is parallel to line CD. That's how you would write that in kind of like a shortcut way. And then EF and GH are not parallel, so I'm not going to write it that way. And these two lines are actually what we call perpendicular. They're intersecting each other, but when they intersect, they form a perfect corner, just like the corner of this paper up here, down here, the corner of your paper. These are all perpendicular. This side here is perpendicular to that side there. This line segment is perpendicular to that line segment, because when they meet each other, they form a perfect corner. A corner that's 90 degrees, that's a right angle. And so when we have this line there and this line here, they come together making 4 angles that are all right angles. You see that? Each of those corners is exactly the same. It's like you can slide a piece of paper right in there and it fits perfectly into that corner. And so now we know what parallel, oh, and the way I write that one is I write ST, line ST is perpendicular, make like a upside down T, to line MN. Now remember, you got to put those symbols above the letters. You can't just write the letters themselves. Rectangles have opposite sides that are parallel and adjoining sides that are perpendicular. Because of this, the opposite sides of a rectangle are of equal length. So we're going to be learning a little bit more about rectangles right now. This is one of the hardest things for the kids to understand, that these are all rectangles. Kids get confused because in kindergarten you're taught that this is a rectangle and that's a rectangle, but you are not taught that this and this are rectangles, but they are, because the length of the sides on a rectangle does not matter. What matters is that this side is perpendicular to that side. It forms a right angle right in here, and this side is perpendicular to that side, forms a right angle. This side is perpendicular to that side. All the sides are perpendicular to the adjoining side, to the side that it is touching. And so when you're checking to see if something's a rectangle, you're not looking to see how long the sides are. You're looking at the corners or the angles, the vertices as they're called. A vertex is a corner on a shape. Vertices are more than one of these. More than one vertex are called vertices. And so all of these vertices form right angles. So this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle, and that is a rectangle. All right, now this next part asks you to identify if each pair of lines here are parallel, perpendicular, intersecting. And so what you're going to do is you're going to write PA on the line if they're parallel. If they're intersecting, write an I, and then if they're intersecting and perpendicular, I want you to write an IP. So your three choices again are either writing PA for parallel, I for just intersecting, or I for intersecting and perpendicular, meaning that they form those right angles. Pause the video, try numbers 1 to 4, and put your answers down here on the line. Turn the video back on when you're ready to see the solution. All right, so these lines would end up, as they show you in the dotted line, crossing right here. So those lines are intersecting. But when they cross, do they form 4 angles that are all the same? 4 right angles? No, these angles in here, this is an acute angle right there. This is an obtuse angle. That's an acute angle. That's an obtuse angle. And so you can see that it does not form right angles, so they're not perpendicular. Number 2, these lines would never cross. They're like railroad tracks. They look like that double L in parallel. So you should have written PA. And then these lines obviously would cross right here. When they do cross, they're going to form 4 right angles, 4 corners that all look the same. So we're going to say that that's intersecting and perpendicular. And then on this last one, pretty easy here, you have this line that would cross that one. So they're not parallel. They are intersecting, meaning that they would cross, but they again don't form those right angles in there. The angles are all different sizes. Well, they're not all different sizes. This angle and this angle are the same, and that angle are the same, but they're not all 4 the same. So we just put intersecting. Now, one last thing here before I tell you the answer to the joke or riddle today, and that is that I want you to understand a problem that you're going to be seeing on tests that kids miss on this concept all the time. You're going to see a rectangle, and you're going to see an X in the middle, like this, and it's going to put like A, B, C, D. They're going to say, which line segments are perpendicular? And there are a ton of right answers, and there's only a few wrong answers, and the kids tend to pick the wrong answer every time on this. They think that this line segment, let me change colors here so you can see it, this line segment and that line segment are perpendicular to each other. So I can't tell you how many kids write AB, hopefully you remember to put that segment symbol above the top, is perpendicular to, AC, they write, AC is perpendicular for that one to DB. And that is not true. Because look, when they come in the middle, they do intersect, but this angle and this angle are kind of small, they're acute, and this angle here and that angle there are bigger than a right angle, those are obtuse. So these are not perpendicular to each other. The segments that are perpendicular are any of these pairs that touch each other, the adjoining sides. So this side and this side are perpendicular. So you can write like AB is perpendicular to BC, and that would be correct. Or this one here, BC, is perpendicular to the one down here. See, because it forms a right angle down there. Comes in perfectly next to it there to form that 90-degree angle. So BC, we could say, is perpendicular to DC. And you could do the same thing with any of these corners, DC and AD, or AD and AB, but you can't pick the 2 diagonals that go across through the middle. Those are not perpendicular to each other. And the answer to our riddle, of course, the best day to go to the beach is on Sunday, because the sun is out on Sunday.